Alright ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Got another cheeky little story time coming your way. I hope you enjoy. So this is about the time me and my friends smoked the lovely marijuana for the second time ever. Second time. What a time. And this is what I would always class as my first proper high, in all honesty. Because I had smoked before, but it just didn't hit. Like this time it hit different. And trust me, this story's a lot better. It's got a few twists and turns coming your way. So let me get started. I'm going to first set the scene. Alright, picture this. Summer of 2022. The sun's shining. Nice breeze. And I'm driving my friend back from one of the last days of college. So the setup's already amazing. So as I'm driving back, it's only like a 10-minute drive. So it's a short drive, you know. Some sparks start coming to my head. Some cogs start turning in my noodle. And we both simultaneously have the amazing idea of smoking some weed. It had been about 3 months since the first time we smoked weed. So we were like, let's give it another go. Why not? First time was pretty good. Let's go all out on this one. You see, I was thinking it throughout the college day, actually, I can't lie. But, you know, Keegan, he was the one that bought the weed, and so I kind of wanted him to suggest it. So when we were driving back, I was waiting maybe for him to potentially suggest it, because I just had it in my mind, man. But like I said, I didn't want to suggest it. I didn't pay for it. And that was when I heard the most magical 3 words in human history, ladies and gentlemen. Hear me out. I don't know about you, but whenever those 3 words are uttered in my friend group, you just know some top class degeneracy is going to happen. And so it did. I dropped him off and we both agreed for me to meet him at around 6ish outside his garage. That's fine because he's literally a 2-minute cycle away. Like, we live so close. Those were the days. I mean, I've moved now, but those were the days we used to be so close. I do have to say we were on a bit of a timer here. Because for some reason, I honestly don't get it. Like, genuinely do not get it. But although my friend was 18, I was 17 at the time, because I'm one of the younger ones in the year. His parents hated the idea of him staying out after dark. It was illegal in their household. It was a crime, the same weight of murder to them. Honestly, they were so against. I remember hearing phone calls when I've been hanging out with him from his parents, them screaming into the phone, being like, "Where are you?" You know, all that sort of jazz. You know, it's dark outside. Anyway, you get the idea. So we're on a bit of a timer here. So 6 rolls up, and so do I to my friend's garage. I said something like to my parents, me and my friend Kay are going for a cycle. Won't be back for a little while, which isn't a lie. Like, we did go for a cycle, so I didn't lie to them. He opens the garage door and I just get that whiff. That scent of just the weed just hits me like a truck, man. See, my friend's garage was perfect because it was actually disconnected from the main house. So it meant that to get to it, you'd have to walk through the back garden, and there was just a door there, and you get the idea. It was good because it was disconnected from the house, so we could easily roll in there without having to worry too much. Famous last words. Now, first, let me tell you a little bit about his parents. I was just going to start there, a little bit about his parents. You see, I kind of hinted at it earlier about, him not being allowed after dark and everything like that, which honestly I thought was ridiculous. My parents honestly didn't care. But my friend's parents were strict with a capital S. Don't get me wrong, when they were in a good mood, they were lovely. They would buy me chocolates and everything like that. It was pretty good. But at any moment they could flip. They were kind of those kind of people. Yeah, they wouldn't hold back shouting at me, even though I wasn't their son. If my friend Keegan was getting told off, then we were both in it, honestly. So now that I've given you a little bit of background to kind of what his parents are like and the kind of stakes that are at large, me and my friend were in the garage chilling, tunes blasting, and we were trying to get these J's rolled. I mean, you've got to remember, this is only our second time smoking, so we could not roll for shit. I remember I had to tap out at one point because I was getting so frustrated, and so we both agreed, me and my friend, that I would be the lookout. I'd be the scout, just to make sure, his parents wouldn't come in. In hindsight, I didn't do a very good job. I'll tell you right now, I had my eyes glued to the back garden door for like literally 99% of the rolling time. Just to make sure his parents wouldn't come in. But that 1%, those 30 seconds, I stopped looking to just, see how my friend's getting on with the rolling. We hear the door handle for the garage start turning. It was his dad. And let me tell you a little thing about his dad. His dad literally looks like the Terminator. I kid you not, he generally does resemble the Terminator quite a lot. That's just what we used to call him. In the split seconds we had before his dad opened the door, my friend quickly, chucks the rolling tray onto the floor near my feet. I grabbed the papers and quickly put them in my pockets and froze in place. You see, I had the weed tray right behind my feet, so, I had to make sure I was blocking it so he couldn't get any sight of the weed. But honestly, there was nothing we could do about the smell, man. He walks in and honestly, straight away, I think it's game over. For some, it's kind of funny. For some reason, I just start admiring the bikes in the garage. I just start feeling with them and fiddling with them. I'm like, yeah, these are some pretty good bikes. As if I haven't seen them a million times before, because me and Kay, we're good friends, so we go in cycles quite a lot. But for fuck, I just didn't know what to do, man. So his dad comes in and he's like, "Oh, Riley, I didn't realise you were here," looking at me a little bit suspiciously. I was just like, yeah, me and Kay, we're gonna go for a cycle. We're just getting ready, but a lot more stuttering, I can't lie. And then he kind of takes his attention off of me and turns over towards Kay, who is just standing there like a genuine NPC. He's just standing in the corner, just arms straight. And so his dad asks him, what do you want for dinner, Kay? And then my friend said something. He said something like pizza or something like that, just typical stuff. And then there was a little bit of silence as his dad rummaged through the fridge in the garage, and then me and Keegan give each other the side eye because we notice a crumpled up rolling paper on the floor from one of our many failed attempts. My friend literally slowly places his foot over the paper, so he's standing on it, so it's nowhere to be seen. It was clutch. The tension was real. Luckily, it seemed as quick as his dad entered, his dad left with a quick, "Okay, well, I'll leave it out to the frost." Well, not so quick, because I remember he stopped halfway out the door, and I kid you not, he said something along the lines of, "You guys stink, by the way, should probably put some deodorant on." I was like, oh my god. I don't know how, he probably did smell it, but I don't think he recognises what the sweet weed actually smells like. He then closed the door, and me and my friend are just waiting for, the door to the house to close. And then we just burst out laughing because it was a close call, man, but it was so funny. Miraculously, all the weed was still intact, even though it was literally chucked onto the floor by my friend. That was one of my main worries, to be honest. I was like, shit, the weed's going to be everywhere. We're not going to be able to do this. But no, it was all fine. It was in pristine condition. But now that we were in the clear, we weren't taking no chances. My friend locked in and rolled 2 semi-acceptable joints, packed it in his bag, and we were on our way. We were out of there. Lickety split. So we had a perfect spot in mind where we wanted to smoke these. And I think I've actually got a picture of the thing, so I'll probably put it up now. If I remember to edit that in, we'll find out. But yeah, we had this perfect spot, that we thought about smoking there before. So it was like a nice bridge along a canal, and it was perfect weather for it. You get a nice view of the sunset. The only thing was, it was a good 20 to 25 minute cycle away, so no light cycle. We finally get there around, and it's 7:30ish at this point, so the sun was properly starting to set. We get on top of the bridge and dug down because we didn't want any people passing by to see us, because at this point we generally thought smoking weed in a public place was an A-star crime, the same as murder, honestly. Now, I have mentioned this before in one of my previous videos. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's named The First Time I Smoked. Pretty funny story. But my friend Kay is the most unreliable person to trust with lighters. He bought one, but like the first time we smoked, it barely had any juice in. Like it was on its last legs. So we're sat here taking about 20 minutes trying to get these lit. But when we eventually get them lit, there was no going back, because I want to start off by saying this is straight up the highest I've ever been in my life. Genuinely. And I've smoked numerous amount of times since this day, so it's generally saying something. We both had Fat J's each, and we were both coughing. I don't know if it's true, but I was told by one of my friends that coughing while smoking actually gets you higher. Something about it going into the lungs more. I don't know, but genuinely I believe it, because this high was something else. I was in a different universe, man. I somehow managed to finish mine, and these were like Fat J's. These weren't like little baby ones. These were fat ones each. My friend's Kay, he generally couldn't finish his. He had most of his. I mean, don't get me wrong. He had like the tiniest little bit left, but he just could not get it finished. I still feel like my lungs are permanently damaged from all that coughing. Now, I remember as soon as I finished smoking, I began to like lose all sense of direction. Like I didn't know which way was my left or right, and every time I moved my eyes, it took the world like a few split seconds to load in. It's kind of the best way I can describe it. It was amazing. It was the bomb, bro. It was amazing. You see, at this point, the sun was almost set, and I was under the impression, that me and my friend were going to chill there for a while, watch the sunset and whilst, baked out of our minds. But because we took so long to light these, my friend hit me with the dude, we gotta go. We were at a race against the clock, as I mentioned before. Like the sun was properly setting now. It was getting a little bit dark out. And, we still had a good 25 minute cycle back. So this was, like I said, this was no lightweight cycle. I turned to my friend, fried out of my mind, with auto smile on, straight up looking like, the sunflower from Plants vs. Zombies, and said, bro, I don't think I can cycle. Because of this, we decided to walk back, because we both agreed cycling's a little bit too much of a task right now. You see, now because this was prime summer, the canal pathways were really overgrown, and me and my friend genuinely felt like we were making our way through a jungle, pushing our bikes. I swear I could genuinely hear what I thought were like parrots and like just standard jungle noises, when in reality, it was probably just standard. Well, it was just standard birds, but in my mind, like it felt like I was in a jungle, man. Not only that, but we were going so slow. It felt like, and like I said, the best way I can describe this is like the chunks of the world just kept spawning in. It felt like we were just walking in one spot because everything just looked the exact same. It was straight up, that scene from The Hobbit when they lose the path in the dark forest and Bilbo's like tweaking out and all that. With this in mind, me and my friend couldn't stop laughing. We were dying. And about 10 minutes passed and it still felt like we made no progress. So this was when my friend decided, like, come on, man, we got to lock in and we got to cycle. Building up the courage, I got on my bike, slightly wobbly, I can't lie, and somehow started cycling. It was a genuine miracle. My friend in front of me was leading the way, and I was genuinely just following him, staring at his bike, practically following his every move. I was not leaving his side. Well, I was behind him, but you know what I mean. Like I was following his every move. You see, it was really weird though. The whole cycle felt like I was playing like a really old cycling game. Anytime my friend in front of me made a turn, and I'm going to try and explain this the best I can, it was like he was making a 90-degree turn. If that makes any sense to you. There wasn't any curving, is basically what I'm trying to say. 1 second he'd be cycling forward, the next, when he turned, he would do a full 90 degrees turn to the left or, to the right. It's really difficult to like fully explain exactly how it looked, but genuinely it felt like I was playing an old cycling like arcade game or some shit. Anyway, while cycling, we passed a few people and, the good old weed paranoia, it felt like all of them were just staring at us. It was pretty scary, but like, honestly, I felt so good I didn't care. And I just knew it was like all in my head. We finally make it back and I say goodbye to my friend Kay, and we literally made it just in time. The sun was like pretty much fully set and he made it just in time. So I cycled back home, and you know how I mentioned at the start of the video, this story has a few twists and turns? Well, here's a pretty big one of them. I put my bike in the garage and then start thinking to myself, how am I going to get past my parents without them knowing? You see, the house that I was living in at the time, to get upstairs to my room, I had to walk straight through the living room where my parents always sat. In typical high fashion, I started overthinking, man. I was like, what do I do? I mean, my eyes were generally dark red. I was straight up looking like Anakin when he turned to the dark side. I then had what I thought at the time was like the smartest idea ever. I was going to go through the back door because that way I only had to go through like a little section of the living room, and I could easily kind of just rush to the stairs without them really. I mean, they'll notice, but they won't be able to like see my eyes or anything like that. Little did I know this decision was, yeah, it wasn't great. I go through and straight away my parents are suspicious, like, Riley, why are you coming in through the back door? I freeze and come up, with like some shitty excuse with like, oh, I was just dropping my bike off, in the back garden, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I quickly go through the living room, making sure I don't make any eye contact, give them a little hi, and just like, I'm gonna go for a shower, I stink. Now, what I'm about to tell you is generally why I think weed is more powerful than some people make it out to be. Whilst I'm having this shower, I can hear my parents talking downstairs, and in my head, I pictured that they were having a whole huge argument about me being high. It was all in my head. It's because I was high as balls, man. It was all in my head. But I was convinced they were having an argument downstairs, like a really heated one as well. My dad, was saying stuff like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And then my mum was saying like, of course it's a big deal, So I get out the shower, put some clothes on, and I head downstairs. It was weird, like my mum and dad were nowhere to be seen. So I go to the front door and I see my dad, like he's grabbing a beer from the garage. And he's like, oh, hey Riley, you all right? I was like, what? I swear I just heard you and mum arguing. And he just looked at me, he was so confused. I then said, where's mum? And genuinely, I started tweaking out. I thought my mum like drove off in a rage or something. Because the angle that I was looking at, I couldn't see the other car. So before my dad could even answer like any of my questions, I say to him, I heard you guys arguing because I was high. And I cooked myself. I finished myself with that sentence. My dad looked at me in complete confusion. He was actually a bit scared. Like he was like backing off because I was acting crazy, man. I was convinced my mum had like stormed off in a rage, and they just had a huge argument. I then hear the downstairs toilet door open, and my mum walks in saying, "Riley, you're high," and I just freeze. I just freeze in place. I completely bottled it. The whole argument was literally just an imagination in my head because I was so high. That's genuinely how powerful weed can be. Luckily, I have like the best parents ever, man. They were so chill about it. They gave me like a semi-lecture about how to not make a habit out of it. And so this whole 30 minutes throughout this little semi-lecture, I was in and out of listening to what they were saying because I was fixated on the rug we have in our living room. It had so many like cool patterns on it, and I couldn't pull my eyes away. It looked so nice. I looked back in when my mum said, do you understand, Riley? I nodded and asked if I could go to my room. They just laughed and said, of course. So I'm in my room watching the Big Les show, of course. What an absolute banger. And I was in a trance. I actually have a video of myself whilst this was happening.
Look at it. Oh my. Whoa. Why does it look like that, bro?
So I might put that up if I also remember to put that up as well. If you're watching it right now, hey. Next thing I know, my older brother comes in because my parents has basically told him the whole story. And I've never seen him more proud of me in my life. My older brother, you see, he smokes a lot and he just found it so funny. He then asked if I was hungry and he bought up loads of snacks for me. What an absolute legend. So really, the moral of the story is, my brother's a real one. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole story. Kind of a long one for you all. If anyone is still watching, considering checking out my other videos, and especially the one that's called The First Time I Smoked, because it's a pretty funny story as well. And as always, I'll catch you later.